Okay, here we go. I think we are live, popping up live in the Mortgage Loan Officer Network. I've got Jimmy Hobson from Utah today,
Hey, everybody.
Mr. TJ Barker from Maryland. Both he and I are kind of working on new offices. I'm still in my temporary space. TJ's got his cubicles there and working on his high-speed dialers and all that stuff. So we appreciate your time, Jimmy. And,
Hey,
TJ and I have gotten to know you a lot better probably over the last 6 to 9 months. And we've known of you and interacted a little bit with you for almost 2 years now. And we invited you to pop in today because we've been impressed at how you, as what many would consider a newer loan officer, have pushed yourself to the point where your numbers are pretty strong. I mean, you hit your first $2 million month, and you're consistently closing over 2 to 3 units. I mean, you definitely hit the 5, 6, 7 unit mark several times. And a lot of folks that come into MLO Net are they see the survey when they come in. They're like, hey, I'm new, or I'm less than 2 years. Like, I got to figure out how to close more than one or two deals, or I'm going to be out of this business. So we wanted to I guess, quote unquote, pick your brain, but we also wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that you've done in the lead gen space. So
okay.
appreciate your time, and let's talk a little bit first about what made you decide to transition.
Okay.
So talk a little bit about who you are and your background before you were LO, and then we'll move.
Perfect. So I am a licensed Medicare agent. I've got a Medicare book of business. A few years ago, I saw the writing on the wall. I thought if the government can screw up healthcare, they're going to screw up Medicare. So I got my property and casualty license and thought, hey, if I'm going to grow this book of business, I got to figure out how to generate leads to give to LOs and realtors. And needless to say, I started doing that and realized that a lot of my referral partners weren't very good at what they did. And I thought, if these guys can do this job, why can't I? And I didn't like property and casualty. It's no fun, way too much service work for me. Medicare is easy. It's 1 or 2 times a year you talk to these people and take care of them, and they're good. And so signed up for a couple programs, got in there, learned how to generate leads with some of the stuff that, people have been doing for a long time, some of the, the hot homes types ads and whatever else, and realized that despite being told I couldn't generate mortgage leads, I figured out how to do it with this cheap little bungalow in the last bastion of cheap housing here in Utah, just north of me, and just killed it. And I couldn't believe it. I wish I knew 2 years ago what I know now about this business. I would have cleaned up and been doing $1 million months from the beginning. But that's neither here nor there. And so I talked to a couple of guys that I was friends with, part of this collective group that we've all belonged to in the past. And I said, what do you think? And they're like, why wouldn't you change? Why wouldn't you get your license? So 2 years, July, I got my license. So I'm almost 2 years in. For about...
We can shout out to them. We can shout out and say thanks, Alex. Thanks, Johnny Fowler. I mean,
Alex Jimenez, Johnny Fowler. Big reason why I'm in the business. Just because, it's one of those things, you always chase your dreams, and they've both been great and very supportive. And there's a lot of people in this business, and yourself included, you guys, and just, people are always willing to help. That's a big deal to me. I'm where I'm at, even on the insurance side, because people were willing to kind of, help me down the path. And so, and some people have evidence, even from this group, that have called me, and I've talked to them. Someone just left to go to the broker side, and they asked me about it. So I spent about a half an hour on the phone with them the other day. I think we help each other, and we kind of navigate the waters, and it makes all of us better, whether we all work for the same place or not. If we're all taking care of people, that's what matters. So I got really good at lead gen. So I originated from July till December. I went to work for a company out here, and then we were going to do lead gen. They offered me the greatest deal of all time. I got 75 bips for every loan I created, whether I ever talked to the borrower or not, right? Awesome. The greatest deal ever. I was generating 2,000 leads a month. Just insane amounts. And these guys couldn't follow up or close a door. And then the attorneys, like the attorneys always do, got in the way. And so I kind of left the business for 3 or 4 months last year. I was a little disenchanted, but I realized I was looking for something different. I like Medicare, but I needed a challenge. And to me, this business is a challenge every single day. So I jumped back in full force again last July or August, and I've been originating ever since. The whole time just building and perfecting my lead systems with my business partner. We don't collect money together, but we consider ourselves partners. My buddy who's a realtor out here. And that's where we've kind of made our way, doing first-time home buyer ads, USDA ads, and just killing it. I'm happy to talk more about those and how we do it as well.
So how much were you spending when you were getting those 2,000 leads coming?
But they were spending probably a couple grand a month. I mean, it was, but I also, back then, before Facebook figured out how to kink the program, I had a program called OctoSuite. If you guys are familiar with it, I'm sure you are. It's a mass poster, and literally I would drop mass posts into every yard sale group that would allow me to. Now they've changed up how they do it, and so it doesn't work quite as well. But it was killing it. I mean, I was doing at one point as they figured out and caught on. I got to the point where I was generating leads for $2 to $3. I actually myself have far more success with mortgage leads than I ever have with the real estate hot homes leads, mainly because I'm the one doing the work and I know how hard I work. When I rely on the realtors to work, sometimes it doesn't happen. So what I've done is I've created leads. I've got them pre-qualified, and then I give them to the realtors, and that's how I built those relationships. And it's actually worked out fairly well for me, but I'm looking to expand the realtor side as well right now and grow that. It's just one of those things I'm looking to tackle. I got lucky because I modified a USDA ad, I don't know, 5 or 6 times. The 7th time it finally hit and just cleaned up. My relevance score is only 7, and I still produce leads at $5 a lead all day long. When I'm running the ads. So,
out of curiosity, are you doing a lead ads or a long form with that?
I use lead pages.
All right. So
I don't like Facebook lead ads. I feel like I get a lot of bad information. And there's nothing against that because I tried it, and for some things it works better, but for these I feel like it works better to do lead pages, and that's what I've known from the beginning because Facebook lead ads wasn't as big a deal 2 years ago,
right.
As you know, and so that's where I've been successful.
Well, with that, so on your lead pages, are you doing just the standard name, email address, and phone number? Or are you actually getting a long form survey where you're trying to get people to fill out 10, 15 pieces?
No, I just do the basics, and then I drop them to a thank you page. The thank you page gives them the ability to go back to my Facebook page, gives them the ability to apply, which people do all the time.
Yep.
Apply now, or there's a credit repair link. People have signed up for credit repair with Sam Parker from my thank you page, so it works okay. And then they get dropped from there. You say here and route them into Lion Desk, and I hammer them. And one of the things I'll give you guys credit for, there's a bunch of them. One of the big things is
just one thing. It's all just one thing.
Yeah, well, it's your initial response. So I was getting a pretty good response, but it went up even better when I asked the first question. Oh, you don't want me to tell anybody?
Yeah, it's top secret, man. It's top secret. That's why people pay the big bucks.
I can't tell them, but there's one little tweak I made with the very first response, very first text I send out. You know the one I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And it changed things for me. And it was already great, and it got better. So
that's so like as I'm a big lead ads guy. I've been using lead ads. I always joke around, or I shouldn't say joke around, but one thing I always say is, I remember Fish and I talking 2 years ago about this new program Facebook was coming out with. And I'm like, I want to give this a shot. And everyone was telling me like, don't use it. And I started using lead ads, and that's where I cleaned up, right? Because I was getting so many leads, and they were so cheap.
Yeah.
We all know Facebook likes to promote things, right?
Sure.
They're toys. They're promoting that. But over the last 6 to 8 months, everybody's jumped on the lead ads train.
Exactly.
At this point. So this is where in Leads Academy, we're moving more back into long form or outside landing pages, click funnels, different types of ads, similar to what you're talking about.
Sure.
Ad campaigns. Look, here's the biggest secret that I tell everybody. Is make sure you're running conversion ads. So everyone's just running these same traffic ads and type of thing, but learn how to run a conversion ad. It is going to change your lead generation life, type of thing right there. But I think it is important now to do exactly what you're doing and what we're doing in Leads Academy, which is not being completely reliant upon lead ads, because more people are in it. More people are Facebook's making changes to their targeting data, and frankly, just with anything in this internet space, the more people see it, the number they get to it. Yeah. So it's important to go ahead and do something different. When everyone else starts going right, we go left.
Well, I think part of the reason why it works for me, same kind of thing, is because I can take that very same ad I run through lead pages and drop it into yard sale groups, whereas lead ads is you're not able to do that. At least I don't know how to do it.
Actually, you can.
Okay.
I'll tag you the video. We have the video in Leads Academy. I'll tell you.
I'll have to go look at it. But that's one reason why I did it. And the reality of it is I got so busy that I dug and took the nuggets I needed and I need to get further into. That's why I was telling Fish earlier, I'm going to hire my 20-year-old. Number one, I'm going to get him licensed because I think this is a great career. He's making $12.50 an hour. Why wouldn't he come work for me for more money? You know what I mean? Number two, he's a technology guy. So he actually went to school for a little graphic design and web development. So hopefully it'll help us all. So.
Yeah, no, I think what you're doing is awesome. I mean, there are a couple of things that just in this 15 minutes we've been talking that everyone can learn from what you said. One, you found a niche, right? You found a niche that other people weren't doing. USDA, that's my thing too. I love USDA. Fish, VA, right? Fish pushes VA. I mean, obviously it's MMBC. I love VA too, but from an advertising perspective, USDA has really been my go-to.
Sure.
I'm sitting in a hot USDA county right now. The county limits just went up, and I mean, I'm ready to dive in because we always say there's riches and niches.
Yep. So USDA, understanding the product, doing things a little bit differently, but then not relying on the real estate agent to work the lead. So that is where I have screwed up in the past. I have blown out P&Ls because of it, generating all these leads, and then handing them off to the real estate agent, being like, okay, go ahead and knock yourself out. Good luck. Right? And then sitting back and being like, okay, what's going on? Like, where are my deals?
Yeah.
So people see me talk about it all the time. I recommend them. Either you work them yourself. I use Ava to work my leads. There's a cost to it, right? But it's something because, Jimmy, we know 70% of our leads, just throw some gasoline and take a match to them if we're lucky. They're garbage. So having the opportunity to work on those 30% that actually respond to something and are actually interested, that's gold right there. So whether it's going to be like, in your case, your boy, if he comes to work for you and he takes some of that off your plate, so he's clearing out that 70% so you can focus on the 30%, or it's a service like Ava, or if someone's doing it themselves, I think that is so key. Is you just have to work the lead. And so many people that we talk to, and Fish can attest to it, and Jimmy, I'm sure you deal with it too.
Yeah.
They think that they get this lead, get this notification on their phone, and they're like, bam, cha-ching, there's the money, right? I'll make a phone call, and I want to take an app. Now I want to go ahead and get a pre-qual out, and I want to go meet a realtor today, and then I'm done. I'm going to go sit by the pool. It's not that easy, right?
No, it's not. I mean, and that's the funny thing. And I'll tell you, and then, people can see, one of the big things that you guys have talked about for a year now, when you initially started and then you got into Lola, is yard sale groups and how important those are. I mean, I closed $1 million in business off of free advertising in yard sale groups in February. $1 million, just because I had some niche products, some of the DPA stuff that I could do that other people couldn't, or they were told they couldn't. And, and again, I'll chase people until they tell me where to go, and it works great. So
everyone that we speak to has success with lead gen makes a comment that you just made. And this goes back to Chad Prio 2 years ago. F you money, right? You chase that person down until they say F you. Right. So
get one of two fingers, the thumbs up or the other finger.
Right. and that's really the secret to success with this. And the ultimate goal at some point is to stop running leads. It's to use the leads and built enough good, profitable relationships from the leads.
Sure.
And you no longer have to do that.
Well, that's what, Jimmy, we mentioned we were going to ask you this question. The timing's good. You mentioned this when we started the call, and a lot of folks are hitting up TJ and I, asking for these magic email sequences, and if I could just program my computer out to be more like me, and maybe if I can get one of these chat bots, or somehow I get a different CRM, then that solves my problem. But we talked earlier about your skills as an agent and how you build a referral-based business. So let's talk about how your plan is not necessarily to be a dial for dollars head jockey guy. I mean, you got other things in mind, right?
Yeah. So, I started seeing the writing on the wall with the leads. I mean, they're great and all, but there's very low conversion, as we all know. Started working on a few things and wanted to start teaching realtors how to be more productive. So you guys know Steve Green. So I went to Steve Green's class and started learning some of the niching stuff, even more stuff than I ever knew. about how to make Facebook work better. And so I've really tried to expand that way and start teaching realtors classes about some of the things I know. In fact, I'm going to teach a class about how to generate leads one of these days. I had a realtor that came to my first class in January, calls me up 2 weeks ago. He said, I just want to let you know, I know you, he's like, I appreciate you teaching that class. He's like, I've got an agent whose son's looking to buy a house and he's looking to go to the credit union. Can you help him? I'm like, hell yeah, I can help him. So he's gonna be under contract for $300,000 here probably tomorrow. Just from reaching out and taking care of agents. I mean, the reality is there's so many people out there, but I want to expand. So my goal, even though I'm good at USDA, my goal really is to expand to VA a lot this year. That's why I came to MMBC. I live 15 miles south of the military base. I've just been so overwhelmed and then was on vacation for a week. So I'm just trying to get ramped up, but I really want to start working on that just because I'm a big advocate of those guys, with my brother being disabled Marine. And then I really want to build realtor relationships and find the realtors that are great partners that want to grow. Because let's be honest, regardless of how great the economy is now, it is going to slow down eventually. It's going to happen. And I want these people to be successful. And if I can help them be successful, hopefully they'll remember and say, hey, this is the guy that helped us get where we weren't going. He's like, anyone can close a house today in our market. I mean, there's 10 offers in every house. If you can't close a house, you shouldn't be in the business. But I want to be the guy that helps these people continue long-term and build the relationships and have the ability to teach people better. I mean, I swallow information in this business. I do everything I can to understand it better so that I can arm these realtors with at least enough knowledge to not get beat out.
All right, so I want to transition. I love what you're doing, and that's right. You're seeing the big picture.
Sure.
Just like, and we tell everyone that joins Leads Academy,
Yep.
Leads Academy is not just Facebook ads, right?
Exactly.
We call it leads because it is about organic. It is about paid. It is about shaking more hands. It's about teaching classes. It's about generating leads because that's what we need to survive. And at some point, and we're starting to see it now with the Facebook ads, right? I mean, we have to take a little bit of a different approach with the Axiom data breach and all that kind of fun stuff to maintain our effectiveness. That's why we're going out to Google again. Because things are going to change. At some point, we'll be back on Facebook and YouTube and everything else. But what the hell was I talking about? But you're seeing the big picture. But how are you leveraging the leads to make these agent relationships? How are you just picking up the phone and calling them and being like, "Yeah, it's Jimmy Hobson, lead generator extraordinaire." You're like, "Here's Jimmy Hobson, the dude with the sweet beard." Like, how are you connecting with these agents to build these relationships?
So really, it was a matter of teaching social media classes, and I got a bunch of people to come, and then as I found people that I clicked with and liked and how hard they worked, then I start referring business to them, and I'll give everybody a shot at least once, and then see where it goes. I mean, I've got a gal that's closed multiple deals with me now, and she's probably 75 to 100 miles from me. Mm-hmm. And now she's running these ads herself in yard sale groups for USDA, and it's everything I ever taught her. I haven't seen a single referral back. So guess what? She's not getting.
I saw. Is that the post that you put out there the other day?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it drives me crazy. Yeah, but that's my point. Is if I'm going to go to spend all my time and give you, basically, I've given her $15,000. If I'm going to give you $15,000 because I created the leads and I got them pre-approved, it wasn't her, right?
Yep.
I'm going to give you this money. Give me some love. Let me take a shot at it. I mean, just because I'm not giving you $1,000 to mail postcards, which is a complete waste of time anyway. Right. I was like, you're killing me here. I'm half a point lower than this guy, and I know the business better. So help me out. So that was my point. I don't know if that person got it, but I've actually had a couple other realtors respond, hey, I'll send you stuff, as soon as I get something to send you.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It worked.
And here's with the leads, if you find the right agent, you're grateful.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I'm grateful that you're willing to help them build their business.
Yep, absolutely.
And not just say, put your hand out and ask for it, or if you got a great personality and close on time. And I know a lot of the old school agents, that's still what they like, and approaching them about leads may not be the best approach. But some of the younger agents, some of the younger go-getters, they do a good, solid business. They're grateful to have someone that actually partners up with them to work on business building.
Exactly.
And whether a lead closes and turns into a deal or not, there's still that law of reciprocity where they're just grateful that you actually are working towards a common goal.
Sure.
So I think that's awesome, man.
I mean, that's the biggest thing for me. Maybe back to answer your question is I want to provide. I tell people all the time, I want to provide so much value that you can't help but send me business.
Yep. Awesome.
Because I think we know more about this business and lead gen than most people.
Yep. I had an agent reach out to me out of the blue this morning. I've been chasing him for about 6 months. Just messaged me. He's like, "Hey, TJ, man, I'm sorry I missed your last lead gen class. You think we can sit down and talk about what you're doing?" And this guy, I know he's a hitter. So, and who knows what comes of it, right? But this is a guy who I know has a great business, very successful, who's reaching out to me to ask about Facebook lead gen. So it's awesome, man. So, Fish, I'm sorry, man. I'm dominating the conversation.
No, that's good.
I get excited about lead generation.
I know. I was hoping that you would dominate this conversation. So, one of the things that I think Jimmy just brought up, and I know it's very critical, and if you got folks that are still tuned in here, is the concept of not necessarily just picking one or two agents and hoping that it's going to work, and continuing just do everything for those one or two agents for the rest of your career. You put yourself in front of multiple agents, and you've taught classes in larger rooms, and you look at the agents in that room almost as a funnel in themselves. You've got what you want, and not everybody's going to fit in that box. So you decided, well, this is what I want. I'm going to keep going until I find this. I'm not going to start changing how I operate and dumping a bunch of money into Zillow or like you said, $1,000 worth of postcards. I'm going to continue to do what I know works, and I will find an agent that can help me at least with a few calls here and there, appreciates extra leads, has something some reciprocal to give back. And at the end of the day, that's okay. If that agent doesn't work, I'll go teach more classes. I'll find a few more agents, and I will find somebody that is a good fit.
Well, exactly. I mean, I've got a guy that sits in an office behind me here. He's a broker. He's a little further along the business than I am. He's probably 10, 15 years older than I am. And he wants nothing to do with the low-hanging fruit. And so we're going to go meet his agent tomorrow, and he's going to tackle all the, the big ones, the jumbos and stuff, and I'll take all those little ones because he didn't want to deal with them. And he said, if you can help this guy grow his business, he's like, I'll give you that stuff. I'm like, done. Now, where do I sign up? Because how great of a recommendation is that from a guy you've been doing business for 35 years to send somebody else business? It's amazing. But just because I taught him a few tricks on Facebook, and now all of a sudden he's taking off and getting business out of it. So it's like you said, TJ, it's all about reciprocity. We take care of people. I mean, I can't thank the guys across the country enough, guys that I've never met or finally met. I wouldn't be where I'm at without people being willing to share, their thing. When I decided to switch to the broker side of the business early April, I reached out to Ryan Chapman. People know him, of course. I reached out to Todd Bitter, a handful of guys that I know are on the broker side, because I want to understand it, and better, because I've always been told horrible things. And again, broker's not for everybody, but it's the perfect thing for me because of how I control my business. But it's good to have a network in here and in other places that we belong to be able to ask those questions. And you help people, like we talked about earlier. You never know when someone's going to need a loan in Utah. Then maybe they think, well, hey, Jimmy gave me some great advice. Why not send it to him? He seems like a pretty straight shooter.
Absolutely. Yep. Great. All right. Well, we've taken it. So we've tried to condense these and make them a little bit more efficient. And so if you guys are still there, if you have any questions, Pop might have seen any questions, but definitely appreciate your time. And I think, the folks that were hopping on this call might have thought, look, Jimmy's going to give us some secret sauce recipe. And oh my God, he told us we have to hustle, we have to fill a classroom.
That's the secret right there, isn't it? Like Fish, that's one of the things we talk about at Leads Academy all the time. The lead generation is easy. That is easy.
Yeah.
Everyone gets so focused on the technology and the lead gen and all that kind of stuff. That's the easy part. It's converting the leads and monetizing the leads that's difficult. And that's where good old-fashioned rolling your sleeves up, getting to work, and hustle comes into play.
I agree. I mean, and that's my biggest distraction, which is why I'm trying to hire my child. Is I call him a child because he's still mine, but he's 20. He's a huge kid, but it's because I don't have the time to dial through a lot of these leads that I want to dial through, because I know that if I can get somebody on the phone, I can disseminate quickly in 2 minutes whether they're a viable buyer or if I need to give them advice to go to Sam or wherever it is, because there's no one better at that on my own leads than me. So, as great as my follow-up is, and I hammer people for 30 days or 45 or 60 days, whatever it is, I still need to be able to talk to them. And that's the reality is I can show you every ad I've ever run. They're for public consumption on my community page. I don't run dark ads for the most part. and you're still not going to do what I do with them.
You're going to get a hell of a lot of likes this afternoon.
Yeah. Well, they can email all they want. They're not going to be able to find that page unless they give it to them. But again, I don't mind sharing. I mean, the reality of it is they can run the same ad. They don't know my demographic, number one.
Yep.
And number two, they don't have my follow-up systems in place, which is a big part of what you guys have taught. And I want to look more into your Ava once I have time, once I have a little more sanity, just because it may be better than what I have because it's got other things built in that I don't currently have.
Well, Jimmy, we got a bunch of classes too in LOA that we're moving over into LOLA for.
That's awesome.
I don't know if you've seen all those, but there's a lot of there's more than that, but there's 3 that we know are really good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited about the Google stuff because frankly, I've been really contemplating that stuff lately, and I want to know more about it. I know you've been kind of working on that, TJ. So
we've been working with that. Personally, for me, for some people that have been testing it, it's working much better than Facebook. For me, it's still not. But we're getting that. We're heading in that direction. I actually spoke with a guy briefly today. I'm hoping to catch up with him later on this afternoon, who is all about Google. Just trying to find out what he has and what he brings to the table. Because it's just like anything with Leads Academy or not with MLO Network. If it's good, we'll make sure that the LOs here have access to it because this is about helping each of us grow our business and being good at what we do.
Yes, just so you guys know, if that was the guy who posted last night, I think we deleted his post because we didn't know who he was. We had no clue. So I think you're chatting with him. He might have something really good, but we didn't want you guys to think it was spam without at least vetting him.
Yep. That's what I spoke to him. I told him we like to vet everybody. So we spoke briefly. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more detail. Good. Seems like a good guy, and he understands. And frankly, he appreciates the fact that we're not just like throwing everything out there, just trying to make affiliate fees off this group.
Sure.
That's not what it's about. So awesome, man. Well, hey, I appreciate everything that you do, man. I appreciate your feedback. I appreciate you being an active member of the network and, of Leads Academy. And most of all, man, I appreciate the inspiration that we should all be getting from you because I know I can get awfully lazy on my lead follow-up sometimes. And then 2 months later, I'll look at my pipeline. I'm like, where the hell are all my deals?
Yeah.
Right there. And I can tell you it's because I run Ava to take care of that 70%. That's a waste of time.
Sure.
I'm not strangling that 30% that I should be as much as I should be. And that's the difference between, as you said, 4 to 6 deals a month, 2 to 4 deals a month, 6 to 10 deals a month type of thing.
Well, exactly. I mean, and the reality of it is sometimes I think we overwhelm ourselves with the minutia when we don't need to.
Yep.
I find that sometimes I consume these deals when I got a great processor who's like an assistant to handle that shit. Whereas when I get done here, I'm going to make a bunch of phone calls from leads I got over the weekend, because, I'll take a crack at them. They still want to hear a live voice because I don't have Slide L I'm using right now. Right. But I think that just adds to it because they hear the thing. But really it comes down to you can run leads till the cows come home. It's all about being in front of them, follow up. And I'll give you one more story that you guys will appreciate. I talked to a guy in January. It was a USDA ad. He lives in the down in the Four Corners area. If you look at a map of Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, and Utah, look clear down in the corner. He calls me up and said, I went to my credit union. He's like, I don't know how we're going to handle closing costs. I'm like, well, let's look. Pulled his credit, 780 credit score, all day long USDA. He was like 40%. I mean, could do anything he wanted to do. Just because I took the time to help him in January, he reached back out. I closed him 2 weeks ago. Just because I worked and was willing to call and talk to him. And I give people actionable advice. Even if I can't do anything for them, I try to be friendly and helpful to people because you never know who's coming back.
Yep. Perfect, man. Perfect way to wrap this up. I love it. Thank you so much, Fish. Got anything to add? Anything to finish up?
I just wanted to say congratulations on your first $2 million a month as a loan officer. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I need to have more of those. I told my kid I need to get to $3 million so he can make $10,000 a year as a 20-year-old. $10,000 a month, I should say.
I was going to say $10,000 a year. That's damn good.
He still lives at home. That's a good deal.
So, yeah, that's a damn good deal. So, cool, man. Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yep, I appreciate it, man. Everybody, have a great one. Thanks so much for joining us.
Likewise.
Thanks, Fish.
Catch you soon.
See ya.